Hello, everybody. This is Brandon from Galaxydoc Market. Today is June 13th, 2026. It's Saturday, about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as I bring you this Wall of Worry Part 2 on how to trade the ongoing, absolutely insane, crazy, manipulated markets. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. And here's the disclaimer for those of you not in the community following me on X and YouTube. Please pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And thank you so much for following me on x.com/Galaxydoc Market. Also, thank you for subscribing, commenting, and sharing on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Okay, so the mantra right now is that this market is absolutely rigged, to say the least. And you got to trade the market that you see, not the one you want. Not the one you want where everybody thinks that the market is topping, and I believe that we are topping, but it's a process. And you trade the market that you see, not the one you want, okay? I understand that the market is at all-time highs. I understand that SpaceX IPO might be the bell that rang the top. Okay, and all of those are things that are valid. All of those things that everyone's talking about, how the market is overbought and we're near the top, how the market is going to crash. But you know, the thing is that I'm just as bearish as everybody else. But one of the things that I've learned in this market is that market makers, okay, the dealers, they set the price, okay? And that includes the politicians, the big banks, the deep state, or whoever it is that is controlling the markets. Okay, it doesn't matter where your bias is. It only matters that if you can see where the market is headed and what the market is actually doing, instead of being biased so much to the point that you can't see the trees from the forest. And that's what I want you to know, is that you have to trade the market that you see and not the one you want. So what am I talking about that? It means that opinions don't matter. Market positioning does. It means what the people with the most amount of money, what their will that they want to do in the market is what's going to happen. Okay, it doesn't matter how much technical analysis that you do. It doesn't matter how much you think that you know what's going on. This market is so fickle, it changes on a dime. And then, of course, if you trade geopolitical news, Iran this, Trump this happened here, whatever. None of those matter. The only thing that matters is how the markets are positioned. Now, I set this out on Thursday. I said it's a bear trap alert because people have gone from being extremely, bullish to extremely bearish, how the world is going to just come to an end just because the market pulled back about 5 to 6%. Now, I've been calling for a corrected market cycle at the end of May to the first 2 weeks of June. And pretty much we put in that corrective cycle in 1 day last week on Friday, not this past week, but 2 weeks ago. And we've been just chopping around at that level, okay? And the market really is looking for a bottom at this point. And it doesn't mean that we're bullish. I just think that we're just going to chop this way and climb the wall of worry. Hence the title is that we're going to chop with probably a little grind higher because the powers that be, including Trump, okay, if you think this market is some form of a auction or a free market, it's managed. I got news for you. It's not. Okay, this market is completely manipulated to drive the maximum amount of money into the big wigs. Okay, just like the SpaceX IPO. I understand what IPOs are, right? You all should understand that it is for the early investors to cash out onto the retail. In a long term, I think SpaceX IPO is going to be great unless you got during the IPO or pre-IPO. Okay, but bear trap alert, folks. The worse the headlines get, the worse the bear traps are going to be. How many of you are shorting the market, shorting the whole, thinking that we're going to go to 7,100, 6,800 on the ES? Okay, it doesn't work that way, folks, because the big boys aren't ready to do that. They'll probably do that. I think a big one is coming in the fall, but that's about it. Okay, right now, be wary of a bear trap. Okay, the worse the sentiment gets, I mean, we go from ultra bullish to ultra bearish within a span of a week. Okay, And this is what the choppy market top formation looks like. Okay. This is what a blow-off top formation looks like. And I talked about that in the video last week. And last week I said, hey, look, you know what? Look for dead cat bounces. Okay. This past week. Fact of the matter is that you trade the market that you see, not the one you want. You just got to have an awareness, and then you trade it that way. So what's the issue, right? The peace deal with Iran might happen, might not happen. Does it even matter? Iran, I've been saying, is a distraction because they are putting in a greatest reset. Trump recently even, truth that on his Truth Social, right? The greatest reset. Okay. What that means is the fractional reserve banking system is failing. So they have to bring in a new money system, okay, on the heels of stable coins and digital currency, backed by probably gold and silver at this point. Okay, but this is a distraction to keep you distracted on the Iran, like it really matters what's going on there. It really doesn't. If you haven't noticed, right? It just drives your sentiment, and basically, you're just being herded like a sheep into bullish and bearish sentiment on a whim. Okay, you have to know how the dealers are positioned. Now, so basically, when I got this, it said an Iran peace deal could be finalized in 24 hours, right? And that's what the Pakistani prime minister says. Then also, Sunday is President Trump's 80th birthday, and they're having the UFC cage fight. Okay. Do you actually think on the week of Trump's birthday that there's going to be some form of a massive market crash? I don't. Okay, I mean, the market conditions, the way the dealers are positioned, the way the gamma's positioned, doesn't seem that way, does it? Okay, so who's ready for the UFC fight? It's all a show, folks. Okay, designed to drive sentiment. Okay, Trump is not going to let this market fall on his birthday week. Okay, now, the UFC Freedom 250 is coming on June 14th on his birthday on the lawn of the White House. You can't make this stuff up, okay? And you just got to enjoy the show. So the Democrats and the left have filed a lawsuit trying to block this, which got basically rejected by the judge. So now they're saying, oh, well, there's going to be a thunderstorm on Sunday, trying to dissuade you from seeing this. I think there's something else that's going to be said, but we'll see what happens. Okay, but expect some form of, messaging to come out of this. Okay, look how they try to scare you. Okay, it's just absolutely ludicrous what is happening. Now, going back to the Iran and whether we're going to have a peace deal or not, I mean, that's irrelevant, right? It really is irrelevant. Right here, right? Okay, Trump says we will go in and get the nuclear dust, and he's going to get it signed tomorrow. Then he even posted on the truth that that's actually going to happen. But then Pakistani foreign prime minister prior to that was saying that it's going to be an electronic signing ceremony. Okay, no more pen and paper, just electronic. That should be a symbolism. And then this person says, just in, Iran peace deal could be finalized. He's pretty accurate within 24 hours, right? And I mean, it's just like it just keeps you glued onto that. But it really doesn't matter what they're going to do. But now, supposedly, the unsubstantiated rumors are that the Iranians said, oh, we're not ready to sign. Okay, so be ready for anything, but for the most part, there's going to be something planned. Everything is basically pre-planned in our world. If you think everything is by accident or by chance, it's not that way. Okay. And then, of course, we got the cryptos. XRP at $1.14. I just told you that the new money system is, I believe, coming. Don't be like these people lined up at $1,000 when you could be getting it at a bargain. Money system changes happening. So let's really quickly go into what's coming in the following week. We are climbing the wall of worry. What do I mean by that is I'm going to bring in kind of my macro. Get this shit out of there. Macro picture. All right. So I'm going to try to keep this short because I've been talking a lot lately. I'm trying to save my voice. But anyways, what we got here is on the ES. Okay, guys. All right. we're finding these triple bottom type formations here. So we have this bottoming formation, and if you look carefully, this is the ES, by the way. We're sort of forming these, if you look at that as like an inverse head and shoulders. Regardless, there is bottom formation at this critical level. This purple line is super critical for the coming week. And if we breach that level, yes, sell off would start. But we're trying to find we went to find the bottom. We're moving higher. These are fairly bullish looking signs. And despite what everyone says, I believe we're going to move ahead on Trump's 80th birthday week. By the way, biblically, when Moses led his people out of Egypt, the Hebrews, okay, he was 80 years old. Just saying. I'm not, I'm just saying that nothing happens by chance at this point. Okay, so what do we got also on the oil? If there was going to be continuous problems or that Iran deal is not going to get signed, oil would be above 100, 110. Okay, it keeps going down. These are the signs that you need to be looking at before you jump to conclusions and start shorting the whole, saying that the world is going to end. Okay, we have the dollar coming down, and we also have the 10-year yield coming down. It's still elevated, but at this point, I'm at a point where I do not fight these yields, and it is what it is. I mean, we have the fractional reserve banking system that's dying. When was the last time you really heard from the Fed? Not a peep, really. Okay. If we were going to crash, we would not have VIX at 17.88. Look at what the market is telling you, not what you think, what you feel. Okay, don't go with your primitive brain, folks. All right. So, and then of course on gold and silver, I think we're bottoming right into this area. Okay, they've been just shellacked down into it, but I think I'm going to show you my technical analysis shortly. But these are 1 hour charts. I believe that there is a inverse head and shoulders, and I've been saying that for a while, that that's what's happening. Get them while they're cheap at this point. Okay. So let's get into a little bit of the macroscopic picture of my McClellan Summation Index. And I've been telling you for a few weeks that McClellan Summation is telling you that, yes, we had the bottom. We foretold the corrective cycle that was coming, but now it's getting bullish, right? We have all these bullish divergences in place, okay? Even the MACD is bullish, okay? We have the little histogram moving higher. And so despite what it seems, remember, market is forward looking. This is what it's telling you, that throughout the rest of the summer, we're going to move higher until the fall. That's when all the shit show begins, I believe. Okay, so if you don't believe me, this is the weekly, and of course we have a nice tail candle off of the ADMA right here. Okay, we have a nice bullish divergence on the RSI. Okay, what more do you want? I mean, yes, we have a bullish divergence here. We've sold off from the all it did on this corrective cycle is take the commodity channel index off of the overbought level, and now we're ready to move, probably chop sideways like right here. Okay, so let's look at daily. Okay, daily is clearly showing you that there is bullish divergences happening. We're finding bottom at the bottom of these Bollinger Band. We got near the 50-day moving average. Can we pull back to the 50 and move higher? Sure. We got to get over this 20 SMA, and then of course, depending on if Iran signs the deal and if it does actually come, we're gonna blow past like 771, 780 on the SPY. Okay, that all depends. If further hostilities exist, remember, the Iran really is not the driver of all this. There is a monetary reset and some other deep state related conflict between Trump, but we are all being fed a narrative. Okay, everything has already been planned at this point. Let's look at our long-term monthly chart. These are long-term uptrend. We broke above the top end of the channel. I mean, we got a red candle for the month for now. This is a monthly chart. Big deal. Okay. Can we come down and bounce higher? Yes. Or can we just blast higher? We can. Okay. We're climbing the wall of worry. I just think that the entire narrative of market crashing and yes, that will eventually come. It's just not now. It's just not now. Okay, here's silver putting in a bottom, double bottom, triple bottom, right off of this critical trend line. If we can get over this 94 level, okay, just pay attention. Okay, it is bearish, but I do believe gold and silver are beginning to put in a bottom. Okay, again, bottom, found support off of the long-term trend line. Yes, it's bearish, but you know what? Nobody's thinking that gold and silver is ready to rocket. I believe it's going to go higher. B of A thinks so. Also, B of A thinks that silver is going to $350 by the end of this month. They retracted that comment. Now they're saying by the end of the year, but they know stuff. Tesla. Highly, beaten down ahead of the SpaceX IPO. I believe this is ready to move higher. We got all the bullish divergences right here. So pay attention to Tesla for the week. And then, of course, we got some, I don't want to talk about Google. I'm sorry. Let me go look at, I want to do Chipotle because pay attention to Chipotle, folks. Chipotle is, believe it or not, quietly putting in a bottom, okay? And if we can just get over this level, we got bullish divergences on the RSI, okay? Of course, I'm going to have a full analysis on CMG here. So, in our community, sorry. So we got these, it's just bullish divergences everywhere. I believe Chipotle has turned the corner. And then our favorite is United Healthcare, of course. How can we forget about United Healthcare, one of the strongest stocks on this recent corrective cycle? United Healthcare is going higher, folks, no matter how you slice it or dice it. Okay? So, great reset is coming. Everything else is a distraction. Enjoy the UFC fight. I think there's going to be some messaging. You have to kind of read into it. I don't think Trump says or does anything without any purpose. Anyhow, so watch for choppy markets with slow grind higher again. Individual stocks are making blow-off tops, but it's going to continue into the fall. Broader market gave the first signal, and we're going to be very, very choppy. It's probably a trader's paradise if you can trade both, trade the volatility, okay? And stock market crash is coming in the fall. Corrective wave is finishing up right now for the June correction that I've been harping about. So we're going to be watching, we're in the bottom formation of the short-lived correction. Silver and gold, get them. Crypto's moving higher. Buy any pullbacks. It's like, don't be that guy in line to buy XRP at above $10, $1,000. I believe it can get there. Don't fight the bull. Looking for exhaustion gaps and climax run, and these blow-off top formation has not been put in. This is what I've been trying to tell you, folks. The blow-off top has not been put in, and I believe that's probably coming in the fall or early winter, January, February, sometime next year. It has started, but it's going to just, I think, it grinds slowly higher. We're climbing the wall of worry. So we're watching for bottom formations in major stocks like Tesla, XRP, Google, United Healthcare, Chipotle, ServiceNow. Apple even. Apple pulled back because, their lack of AI initiative. But you know what? I think both Meta and Apple are smart for pulling out of that because I think it's going to be a zero-sums game. If you remember the old days with the IBM mainframes in the 70s and 80s, before personal computers became the main thing, we're kind of at that stage with AI. Eventually, your handheld iPhone is going to be able to do all of these AI stuff. Okay, AI is real, but it's going to get commoditized. Okay, we're continuing on with the top formation, climbing the wall of worry, folks. Okay, so that's about it. And we're going to do Galaxy, whatever. Thank you for following me at Galaxydoc Market. And follow us, like us, share us, and above all, comment, good and bad, on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. If you want to work with me, you got to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. You want to join my community, Essentials group, that's the entry-level group, $49 a month. Watch list, market commentary, charts, and anything that you need to know. It's vibrant things to help you with your trading. Okay, anyways, be careful out there. Enjoy the UFC show. Okay, don't get fooled, folks. Trade the market that you see, not the one you want. Bye-bye.